Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Hakuoki Kyoto Winds. I slid the door open and met a breath of cool morning air. Sorry about that. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city. An unusually strong wind driving them along. Let me just turn that down a little. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I'd begun living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. I was given a room of my own, but they made it clear that I wasn't to roam freely. They weren't the best accommodations, but given how close I was to being murdered by them, instead, I thought it best not to complain. Still, do I really need a dress like this all the time? I sighed, staring at my feet on the cold floor. They'd given me temporary accommodations, but it wasn't without its strict conditions. The Shinsengumi will look after you, but we do not allow women to simply wander our doors. The Shinsengumi keeping a woman here. If such rumors were to spread, tongues would begin to wag. Even worse, it may invite guests who are also searching for Kodo to come here, looking for you. It is still up to speculation, however, whether or not he has been taken or attacked. So many unanswered questions hovering about. All the more reason to keep recklessness at a low. In other words, you need to keep this facade as a man. Do I make myself clear? Clear. His reasoning was sound. Perhaps more than that, I knew he was concerned not only for the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice regardless, but keeping this in mind made his orders more palatable. I don't expect this to be an issue, but having a woman around could disrupt morale, so to speak. For that reason, only we, the Shinsengumi's leadership, will know the truth of your situation. It is imperative for us to keep this under wraps, for there is no telling what becomes of rumors. I understand the situation, so what should I do while I'm here? Nothing. You're gonna get a room and you're gonna stay in it. Really? I could have sworn we decided she was going to be someone's page. Soji, keep your tongue in your mouth, or I'll cut the fudging thing off. My goodness, language, Hijikata. Language, my dude. Before long, I'd been there for a week. I guess I don't have much of a choice. The frick, dude, my dog, man. My dog, dude! No sense in dwelling on what I can't do, after all. Although it was still a new sensation, I'd grown comfortable in dressing like a boy. Particularly the feeling of wearing pants. I straightened up and touched the Kodachi that Hijikata had given back to me. Yeah, pants probably very comfortable for what? This was a familiar friend of mine, the blade by my hip stretching back to as far as I can recall. According to my father, this was an important heirloom passed down through the Yukimura clan. Hello, my dog. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, making me well aware of what the blade was capable of. What's up, my dog? Emma, what's up? I had never cared much for weapons. Weapons hurt people, which is an obvious factor, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as far back as I could remember, any wounds I suffered healed at an incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. As a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. My father insisted it was a gift of the gods, but that I should tell no one of it. I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they knew. Ever since then, I'd done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I developed a fear of them. My constant need for disguise was frustrating, but my condition left me more unsettled. Imagine that. Imagine, like, having to, like, be afraid of, healing yourself. But, I mean, it is, I imagine, like, scientists get a hold of you and then... Still, that wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank and file soldiers treated me coldly. I'm not just imagining it, right? I learned having a private room was a privilege, even for captains. For a child to arrive and receive better treatment than their own captains. No surprise, really, for I am a main character. For the soldiers to hate me. True, I suppose I can't really blame them. I was enjoying the Shinsengumi's hospitality, and so I felt I should help them in some way. But I knew nothing of soldiers and their ways. I gave as much effort as possible, despite Hijikata's commands for me to remain in my room. How does one calm the lonely, restless mind? The owner of a lonely heart? I think for the soldiers, whenever the captains or other officers would look out for me, it appeared as if they were giving me special treatment. They're just watching me. To make sure I kept my mouth shut, they took turns keeping watch over me. Any mistake on my part would cause huge trouble, so they were making an effort to keep me contained. Even if I could speak with the soldiers, what conversations could we share? Nothing. Nothing. My only respite from any possibility of detection would be to stay alone. Again. All I wanted from this, though, was to find my father. Even though they promised to help me, keeping me locked here without the ability to leave was no better than being tied up. Just when it felt like I'd made some progress into my journey, my search was kept to a halt. Perhaps, I thought, I could talk to Hijikata, if he would give me permission to look for my father. Oh no, that's right. Hijikata has recently departed to Osaka. Well, if Hijikata's not here... Oh boy. Eyes closed, eyes heavy, knees weak, choice is spaghetti. I don't know what I picked. I picked to leave the compound, I guess. Perhaps there would be someone in the inner courtyard, to whom I could speak, I thought. I didn't want to be spotted by the soldiers, so I hid for a moment and scanned the area. Oh, good. Things were looking up. The only people in the courtyard were Okita and Saito. Good morning, Okita. Good morning, Saito. They showed no sign of surprise to my approach and turned lazily to greet me. Morning, Chizuru. Thinking hard on something, are we? How did you guess? We didn't have to. You just told us. At any rate, if you have something to say, then out with it. Well, I didn't want to impose or complain, but they had asked. I was hoping I could go look for my father soon. That's not possible. We don't have enough men to spare to keep an eye on you. He hadn't exactly left me any room for argument. Is there really nothing you can do? It's not like I want to go very far, just walking around the city is enough. Well, I suppose we might be able to let you take along when we go on our rounds. Your rounds? Your rounds? I must have worn a confused expression because Okida's eyes narrowed, and he proceeded to warn me. This isn't just a stroll. While you're with us, you're in danger. If we make mistakes, our men die. If you don't want to get cut open by some angry Ronin, you need to be ready to fight back. Well, I do know a little of swordsmanship. I should be able to protect myself a little. I learned from the best. Ichigo Kurosaki. No. Rurouni Kenshin? Internally, though, I was frightened by the rounds. The last thing I wanted was to see another person die, and I had seen enough of that to last a lifetime. I had to remind myself that fear couldn't rule me. No matter what, I had to find my father. Kyoto may be a dangerous place, but being paralyzed by fear would prevent me from ever finding him. In that case, allow me to test you. Let me see if that blade of yours is merely for show. What? I will hold back, but you need not. Come at me with your most powerful strike. But... Is something wrong, Yukimura? Draw your blade, unless it is merely decoration. No, of course it's not. And I have taken lessons. I'm not lying. No, of course it's not, and I have taken... But I can't attack you. If my hand were to slip and I cut or stab you, not only would you be injured, but you could die. My goodness. It's the trope where you think you're so good that you could end up hurting me, cause I definitely could not deflect your blows. Laughter. Excuse me, you don't have to laugh. Oh, that you could kill Saito? That's not funny? Oh man, this is too good. Of course I hadn't thought I could be one of the captains of the Shinsengumi, but still, there's still a chance of someone getting hurt. If it's to help someone or to protect myself, I wouldn't think twice to draw my Kodachi. But right now, eyes closed. Where's my mouse? Right, so this is top, this is bottom, and I'll just go in a circle. And I'm just going crazy with my mouse. I'm clicking, but I don't know where. Wait, there. Oh wait, I'm quick saving. God damn it! All right, whatever. So I probably picked the top one, didn't I? So this is to test my skills, right? You know what? There's probably a better way I could do that. Whatever. I'll do that next time. So this is to test my skills, right? Am I going on his route? Oki does. Seems like you are fast at understanding. Prove you can use your sword, and we may consider taking you with us on our rounds. If you are so concerned for my safety, then use your scabbard, or the back of your blade. I looked down at my sword. Even with the scabbard or the back of the blade, a misplaced strike could break bones. However, this was the opportunity I waited for, and I don't want to miss this chance. I straightened up and looked straight into Saito's cold, calm eyes. Let's go. Let's go. I settled into a fighting position. Saito cocked his head slightly to one side and let out a small noise I took to be a laugh. His stance stayed defensive. No sign of fear, despite the fact that I was clearly ready to attack. Did he intend to leave the sword sheathed? I stopped the thought as it entered my mind. His words were to be trusted. Here I come! As I stepped forward, I let out a yell and lunged. The backside of my blade collided with the shoulder of a defenseless Saito. Or so I thought. Oh, it's so good. Shivers down my spine, dude. It's so good. Look at it, it's so good. Oh, look at it, it's so good. Huh? In the blink of an eye, his face was only inches from mine, and I could feel the cold steel of his blade. This was the skill of a Shinsengumi captain. My body froze, and sweat dripped from down my neck. Jesus Christ. English is a hard language to speak, my dude. And especially in front of one of the captains of 13 court guards. Your master should be proud. Your blade was not clouded. You can see into the heart of one's swordsmanship. You are blessed with a good teacher. He turned without another word, sheathed his sword, and began to walk away. I then noticed how wildly my heart was beating. What was that? This is a pretty nice little blade. Looks old though. Huh? I looked over at Okita to see him holding my Kadachi. I looked down at my hand where I expected the sword to be, but it was empty. I'm sorry. Thank you for picking up my sword. He nodded and tossed the sword to me. I reached for it, but there was almost no strength left in my hands, and I nearly dropped it. The blow of Saito's sword on my own had left my hands numb. That strength seemed almost inhuman. You alright? Gave you a bit of a start, didn't he? Not surprising, Saito's a real master. Yes, I suppose I'm okay. But what's that word? I felt like a bit of a fool asking, but they seemed to think it was a perfectly legitimate question. A technique where one draws the sword from its scabbard and strikes the enemy all at once. You see how the blade points up? Yes? You wear your katana just like my Kadachi, then. That's right. Older katanas were once hung facing blade down, but modern blades are worn at the waist, blade up. Normally, one waits until the blade is drawn, then flips the blade over and faces their opponent. Now, you see, this is actually something that I kind of was thinking about, because I'm butchering the pronunciation of it, but that is like a legitimate thing and whatnot in real life and whatnot. But I've always like wondered, like, if guns weren't a thing, would we still be using swords? Like, crossbows, I'm pretty sure were like still a thing back then, even then, right? But like, if we never had guns, would there just be swords and crossbows and ballistas? Like, would ballistas be even more powerful? Would that be upgraded? You know what I mean? Like, instead of tanks, we still have ballistas, you know, and whatnot. Just interesting to think about. Like, how would you know, history take us if those things weren't created? Normally one waits until the blade is drawn, then flips the blade over and faces their opponent. I don't know if I said that already. And he could have easily taken my head with that blade. Had we faced an actual battle, I would have been dead sooner than I could prepare myself. It sounded like you said EI. I really don't remember. I'm pretty sure I've known how to say it, but I can't remember anymore. In EI, the sword is drawn with one hand. Some think it diminishes the power of your swing. That's not a problem Saito has. It seems like he could easily finish an opponent with a single blow. Yep, Hajime's a real blood sport. He'd have finished you off right after he knocked the sword out of your hand. The only reason I survived that encounter was because Saito had never intended to kill me. A thought that made me shiver. That's Yai then. And from a true master of the art. It left me speechless, trembling from its power. A feeling of horror began to creep and coil itself around my heart. The outside appearance of the Shinsengumi did not reflect their deadliness. It mesmerized me to witness men who could be gentle, yet killers. Don't berate yourself. You have room to improve, but you have enough that we might take you along. Really? I looked from Saito to Okita. He gave me a smile and brought his hands together in polite applause. Like this. Gotta love Code Geass, dude. Gotta love Code Geass! Code Geass! Well, look at that. Hajime himself gave you a pass. That's pretty amazing, you know. Then that means you can take me with you? Well, if the man who told you to stay here approves it, then yeah, you're good to go with us. Right. I'd had a feeling he was going to say something similar, so I simply nodded in agreement. You're just going to have... Oh. Seminar. You're just going to have to wait till Hijikata gets back from Osaka. Sorry. Oh, you don't need to apologize, Saito. It's alright. Saito looked at me for a beat, then turned away. I thought perhaps he looked to me with pity. We'll ask the commander for permission to take you on patrol. So, you think you can wait just a little bit longer? If you want, we'll keep you company. Really? Ogita smirked, and I couldn't tell if he was kidding or meant it. I turned to look up to the sky, watching the white clouds gently drift apart. Perhaps a shy omen. Perhaps an omen of this video being over. Alright. That being said, if you guys like the video, give it a like. Give it a subscribe if you want to see more. And of course, comment down below if you know, have anything you want me to correct. If you want me to change. If you want me to blah, 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 blah. Alright. With that being said, have a great day, night, evening, morning, whenever you guys are watching this.